Okay, so we're living in my other sister's basement. Like I said, I started to notice the money's gone. We don't have enough money for Christmas presents. And I'm just like I was, you know, how many years ago when I came back from the apartment, I'm just like, why in the fuck are you doing this? Why are you back here? Oh, let me go back and say too that when he got out of rehab, he never went to not one meeting. He was supposed to get out of rehab, get a sponsor, and start going to meetings. He never did any of that. So, I'm pretty sure he's using again. He's going out with friends. One particular night he went out, stayed out all hours of the morning. So I locked him out. He came to try to get back home. He was locked out. We almost had to call the cops. He's trying to beat my sister's window in. So he went to go stay with his mom. So that puts us to Christmas Eve. He's staying at his mom's. And of course they don't call him out on his shit because they never do. They think it's funny. And my sister's basement floods literally on Christmas Eve. I'm at work and I get a call from my sister. There's like fucking black water, basically like sewage, backing up from the washroom, bathroom in the basement, all over all of our stuff, all over any of the Christmas presents that I was able to provide. It's so bad that we have to move out. We basically have to move out immediately. So now here I am again, homeless. I've run out of family members to go live with, at least ones that I'm willing to have the courage to ask for help from. Because like I said before, I don't like to ask for help. So, my credit's still fucked up. I have no credit. I can't get a loan. I don't have even good rental history. So by some act of God, I'm able to find a couple who's willing to rent to me despite my credit based on my work history and my income alone. And I don't have enough money for a deposit. So somehow I'm able to convince her to let us move in and that we will pay the deposit over the next 3 months. And oh, also they don't allow pets, but I somehow get her to allow me to bring my dog. And these are the nicest people. They were so amazing to work with. They were angels. They were angels because we would have been homeless. So, but I still needed Nate's help. So basically now here I am back in a position where I've got to let him come back. So we move out of my sister's basement 3 days later, which is my birthday, December 28th. We move into this new condo and, you know, I'm feeling pretty good. I'm feeling optimistic. Like this is a fresh new start. We haven't had our own space for a long time. So I'm feeling like this is going to be good for our family. Yes, Nate's relapsed, but I'm thinking, okay, you know, he's going to get his shit together. We get into the apartment or the condo, whatever you want to call it. So now it's January of 2012 and, things are going okay. He was doing okay. And then by like February, you know, it's time to pay the rent, not February, maybe March again. March always seems to be like a time of change. And so it's time to pay the rent in March and he doesn't have his half of the rent. So again, we both have the same jobs. We both have the same income. We went from paying, you know, $1,400 a month mortgage to this rent, which is $890 a month. So we now have no car payments because our cars have been repoed. So the cars we're driving have been paid for in cash. There's no reason that we shouldn't have had the money for the rent based on the income that we were making. So I immediately call his mom and I'm like, you know, if Nate comes to ask you for money, you need to tell him no. Because I found out when we put him to rehab that his mom had been helping during the time that we were still making mortgage payments. His mom had covered our mortgage countless times that I never knew about. I didn't know that he was taking our mortgage money, buying drugs with it, then going to his mom and his mom was paying our mortgage payment. Now, had I known, we probably could have figured out about his drug habit maybe even years sooner than we did. So anyway, I call his mom and like, do not give him any money. If he comes and asks for money, you need to say no. He doesn't have money for rent. There's no reason. I know he's relapsed. We need to hold him accountable. So she says, okay, well, he hasn't asked me for anything. You know, luckily I was able to cover the whole rent with my income. But it was just such bullshit. So, we get in a big fight. I kick him out again. I go into my closet, into the condo, and I literally have like a eat, pray, love, you know, moment where I break down on the floor of my walk-in closet. I shut the door because I don't want my girls to hear. And I literally just have a complete and utter meltdown. Now, keep in mind that through all these last years, even though I'm a very emotional person, I wasn't showing a lot of emotion because I had just hit a threshold where I wasn't able to care anymore. I was apathetic. I just couldn't. I was just doing what I could to keep my head above water and to keep myself from drowning. So I just have this huge emotional release. Although I had been on this spiritual and awakening and whatever, I was not I'm still not religious, but I still wasn't like having a connection with God. And I still just, you know, kind of, I guess, felt forsaken or whatever. And so I just said to God, I said, I cannot do this. I'm not strong enough. Please help me. Please help my family. And I just prayed and I just was done. I just couldn't do it anymore. So I just said, please, you know, send me strength. Please send me a sign, you know, anything to where I know what your plan for me is and what I should do. And so that was that. I come out of the closet, put my little mom face back on and just kind of go about, you know, dealing with my life the way that I always had to. Well, I can't say that it was that night because I don't know for sure, but it was like within that week, all of a sudden, out of nowhere, I start dreaming about Jason. Jason from high school. Jason, who I broke up with to be with Nate. So I know we've been talking about me and Nate for a while. I haven't talked about Jason. Throughout these years, we still live in the same town. I never thought about him. You know, I'm the one that broke up with him to be with Nate. I wasn't like heartbroken. I felt bad for what I did to him. I hoped that he was happy. Our paths had crossed a few times over the 20 plus years, but it never was anything like memorable, or I never was like, oh my gosh, I wonder what Jason's doing. Or, you know, I didn't think about him. And if I heard about how he was, I was like, oh good, you know, I'm glad things are working out for him. That was about it. I didn't have any ill will feelings for him, but it wasn't something that I thought about. So the first dream, I probably thought, oh, that was weird. Well, then I proceed to start dreaming about him every single night, to the extent that I'm calling my sisters, I'm calling my best friend, and I'm like, you know, I'm now a spiritually awakened person, so I don't believe in coincidences. And I'm just like, why is Jason Rollins coming to me in my dreams? Like, what is this, you know? In the 20 years that we had been separated, we'd maybe run into each other like 2 or 3 times. He had been married once and had a boy, who was about a year older than my oldest. So, which is now, he just turned 19 yesterday actually, but so this is in 2013. And so then I knew that, and then they had been divorced, and they'd been divorced for a long time. Then he'd been dating this other person who I'd met. She was a bartender. I didn't know if they were married or not, but I knew that they had some kids. It was weird because I noticed the thing that I paid attention to was that when he had these 2 more kids with his second woman, he named his daughter CJ, which is what I named my daughter. My daughter's name's Sydney, but I spelled it C-Y-D-N-E-Y, middle initial J, not even a middle name, just Sydney J. Rose. We called her CJ her whole life, so I find out that he has a daughter named CJ, so that was a weird thing. And then he had a little boy. Video's getting ready to run out. I'll be back.